Hey guys, hey everybody. Hello and welcome to Web Summit. Garrett, you just arrived, like you just caught a beautiful wave there, like in the last 15 minutes. Impeccable timing to arrive here. You're also one of the most enthusiastic people I've ever heard speak about surfing. So it dawned on me that I should ask you all, why did you fall in love with surfing in the first place? What got you into the sport?
Why I fell in love with surfing. I moved to Hawaii. My mother forced me to move to Hawaii, believe it or not. And I went kicking and screaming. I did not want to go. When I got there, we didn't have much. Her husband, who brought us there, my stepfather, left us as soon as we got there. And so we were pretty down and out. She didn't have a job. And I found a surfboard in the bushes. Took that surfboard in the water. And I was instantly in love. It was all I wanted to do. I was consumed, and everything was perfect. It didn't matter what was going on the land. The ocean was just paradise. And all I needed was a surfboard, waves, and I was in heaven. I was consumed, and it became my passion.
You found a community as well very quickly, because it's definitely one of the most solitary things that you can do. It's you, the board, and the wave. And I'll get to the technology bit in a minute, but you start with no technology, just you and the board. How do you end up finding a community of other people?
How do what?
End up finding other people who also surf. Like you said, you're part of a bigger world.
Oh, I got super lucky. A friend of mine who lived right down the street, he's the one who actually taught me to surf. And then from there, it's really about who you surround yourself with and what your goals are and what your dreams are. And it's funny, this guy who taught me to surf, I go all over the world and people will say, oh, my friend told me he taught you how to surf. And I go, what's his name? And it's usually somebody who didn't teach me how to surf. And I go to the big island of Hawaii and I'm at some contest and some local guy comes up, hey, yeah, my brother told me he taught you how to surf, but he didn't really teach you, did he? And I'm like, what's his name? He's like, Butchie Boy. And I'm like, he did teach me how to surf. And the brother was so happy that it was just really about who you surround yourself with.
Andrew, do you remember the first time that you caught a wave and understood that this is what you wanted to spend your life doing?
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, it wasn't in Hawaii, but it was at home, North Devon, Easter weekend, about 7 years old, rented a wetsuit, rented a surfboard, and my parents sat in the car and read the paper on the Sunday afternoon. I went surfing by myself.
And that was it?
And that was it, just done, like instant, and ever since then, like it's always, what been the whole focus of my life. Everything's revolved around it since then.
It's funny he remembers the exact date. What's your story?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for coming. I had a similar story to Garrett where I grew up in Hawaii as well, and the culture there, which is amazing, it's like being a surfer is like the coolest thing. So I tried every sport, was not good. I was clumsy, I was like not coordinating, but for whatever reason, I just was like, I gotta be a surfer. It looks like the coolest thing. I tried it and it stuck. And at that moment instantly I was like, wow, I think I could like do this. Like I think this is meant for me, because when it came to other sports, nothing stuck, and then surfing was just like it for me, and I loved it.
And to dedicate your life to it, that kind of realization, do you realize pretty quickly, this is what I want to do with my life?
Yeah, like I really instantly, like, besides thinking it was like the coolest thing to be a surfer, I instantly just fell in love with it. And like I said, like I had never felt like it was an actual gift and it was a calling, that it was almost bigger than me.
Yeah.
In a sense where because I did consider myself athletic, even though I was not talented in anything, but for this, it just stuck, and I knew like right away.
Tiago, what about you? Like in Hawaii, it seems like there was definitely a pre-existing surf culture. In Portugal, it seems like you kind of start the surf culture.
Boa tarde, Lisboa. Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't call it that way. I think I still come from a generation where surfing wasn't a mainstream sport like nowadays. Back in the early 90s, when I started surfing, we were seen a bit more like as a tribe almost. But the good thing about surfing and the amazing thing about surfing is that the booming was so fast and so huge. And I was just on the right timing. So I kind of benefit from that. And yeah, I think the last few years have been amazing. Surfing has been growing and growing so much as a sport. Now I'm, if you become a surfer nowadays, it's just so much more recognized than we were back in the days.
Yeah. And also people around the world can see what you do.
Yeah, nowadays you're you just right on the phone, or you can watch surfing anywhere you want. It's amazing.
For you, that wasn't the case. There weren't mobile phones and there was no YouTube to watch other surfers around the world. So you guys had to create your own imagination or watch people do it. When do you start getting technology, and when do you first actually see the benefits of having a camera watching you surf?
The main benefits we found from technology is monitoring the waves. As a big wave rider, you have to monitor where these storms are going, figure out how big the waves are going to be, if the winds are going to be good, and we got to get on a plane at the last second, fly in front of the storm, and hope that whatever they predicted is coming comes. And back in the day, we would fly somewhere and just sit there for months waiting. So we'd burn surfboards. We'd do whatever we had to do to sacrifice to get waves to come. I can remember being in G-Land for a week with no waves. We actually burnt a surfboard, sent out to sea, prayed. Didn't work, but now we just use the internet. We know exactly where to go, exactly when to be there, and exactly what size the waves are going to be with what wind is coming.
Yeah.
The only place that doesn't work is here in Nazaré, because the Atlantic Ocean is so unpredictable. You never really know what you're going to get at Nazaré. Yesterday, the weather report said it was going to be perfect tomorrow and huge, 50, 60 plus, and just today the wind turned north, which isn't ideal.
So just in case anybody doesn't know, Nazaré is where you've surfed the biggest recorded wave?
The biggest waves in the world, bar none, are at Nazaré. And it is the most amazing place in the world to witness big waves as a spectator. I got here and instantly thought, I'd rather not bring surfers. I'd rather bring visitors, and I can surf here alone for a while. Well, now all the surfers are here and all the spectators, and you guys are all welcome. If you can get away tomorrow, I highly recommend it. It'll be 50, 60 feet, maybe up to 80 at times. And it's right, the waves are as close as you are to me. The only place in the world where you can witness such amazing, massive waves and feel the power crashing on the cliffs, and just becomes, you're almost a part of the whole thing, just being there on the cliff. You feel like you're riding the waves.
You've surfed it, obviously.
Nazaré?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've surfed it, not as big as these guys do.
Tiago's been going there forever.
I was there a few years before Garrett, and I didn't have the same technique and the same courage as these guys. I think they were, you're very used to deal with this kind of waves. And for us here in Portugal, we didn't have this, the same, not technology, I would say, but conditions to get out there. And it wasn't before Garrett came that people started to realize that wave, when it's really, really huge, it's surfable.
Yeah.
We did surf it before, but it was way smaller than that. But I come from a competitive nature, so I was doing different thing, different path, the pro surfing thing.
Yeah. Anastasia, you've seen the sport grow and multiply. What do you put the growth of surfing down to, and why have so many people? Why has it become mainstream over the last 15 years?
I mean, I think it's awesome. Like I said, it's one of the coolest sports in the world, and you get a scenario like Nazaré, and you get guys out there risking their life and really going for it, and it's exciting to be a part. It's exciting to watch, and also it's one of the few sports that you are just surrounded by good-looking, in shape, happy, cool people. And I think that people are really drawn to that. And I think with the explosion of the internet and social media and everyone, being able to see how awesome of a sport and not only a sport but a great lifestyle it is as well, has really been critical to getting it to more people, which I think is awesome.
And I think the benefit of that is that it means that more people can have careers that last longer, and so that builds a familiarity with the fans in a way that wasn't possible before.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too now, because before everyone was very, in the surf world at least, was reliant on surf media, and now it's such, you can put a video on YouTube and the mainstream media picks it up, and it's not like the old days where it was just within your sport. Now it's to the world.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Andrew, do you remember a point where you actually strapped a camera to your surfboard, or where you actually started to watch this and realize actually there's a much bigger audience out there that I can make a living doing this thing that I'm going to do anyway?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, like obviously the rise of waterproof cameras, GoPros. Especially for me, I sort of first branched out into big wave surfing in Ireland, and it was like you often just you and your mate. You haven't got filmers. We had no access to filmers. So yeah, we started recording our own clips and actually creating content, and that was like a long time ago, and then uploading it, getting on YouTube, getting it out there, and it's like it was a way to sort of promote yourself without having the support or budget behind you.
Yeah. It's like proper startup stuff, like it's a lean startup where you go and just do something and you create a business around it.
Yeah, and that's how you sort of get your name out there, get your content up, and add bits to content, other bits of content which you're making, those sort of cameras and things like that.
Yeah. You were talking earlier about the first use of technology would have been ringing buoys to see where the waves were big.
Yeah, so we were just joking about that because now with the internet and forecasting, but we were talking about how did you know, and for me there still is a hotline for the buoy readings, which will tell you about 8 hours out, so you call, and it's still a really good way to do things. But now, I mean, you guys all know wave tracking better than me and forecasting, but the internet has some really good ways to, like you said, to the hour. You can predict what the waves and weather are going to do.
To take the mystery out of the whole thing. The other thing that we were talking about was surfing is going to be in the Olympic Games for the very first time, which is a huge, I don't know, how beneficial is it to the sport? What's your take on that?
Well, it's going to take sport, surfing, to the world, to the whole world. As by now, we're still kind of limited to the coast, Taking surfing to the Olympics, it's going to spread out the world so much more, and I think it's going to be a good thing for surfing at the end of the day. So the obvious question is, you can't really guarantee waves wherever the Olympics is going to be. So there's innovations where they're actually going to start making man-made waves. Yes, nowadays there is 2 different systems of wave pools, man-made waves, and there's a big debate around where are the Olympics taking place, in the ocean, in the surf, in the pool, in the wave pool. I think there's a 50-50 chance now, but I think it makes more sense to be on a wave pool because it's way more controllable, and you can guarantee the show. While in the ocean, if you have a small window of days, it can go wrong. What do you guys think? Should it be a wave pool or should it be man-made? Is that kind of the?
I think that if we can utilize technology for more fun, I'm all for it. And a controlled environment is a very fair playing field. In the ocean, there's so many variables.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think from just the location standpoint, I'm all for the wave pools. I think, like you said, you're going to open it up to so many people, and it will make it a more even playing field. And I think it's going to be really interesting. And you see a lot of the videos now, what Kelly's doing, and how the WSL is using the wave pool and doing tests and stuff. And I think it is the future.
Is part of the whole point of the competition, though, not how you deal with the natural environment? Is it an unfair playing field if you're in the sea normally?
I mean, traditionally not, but there is a skill, like you said, that comes into that, knowing how to read waves and the strategy behind that. But I think it will push the sport to becoming really a lot more technical, and really people being able to focus on the technique more than maybe wave strategy.
Is there any risk that people become not professional surfers in the way that they are professional, but like sports people obsessed with just the sport as opposed to the actual culture? It seems to me that the lifestyle is actually almost as important as the fact that you compete against each other.
It is true, there's the surfing lifestyle also, and it's a huge thing. It's actually as big as the competition part of surfing, So a lot of people don't even like surfing events. They just like the lifestyle. They just like the fact of getting their boards, going searching for waves, the culture of escaping the city, and you kind of lose that. So
it feels spiritual. The way you guys talk about it, it feels like it's something like you don't do it because you're competitive. You do it because you love being in the water, right? And is there any risk that if at the end of that we give out a gold medal, a silver medal, a bronze medal, and somebody goes home disappointed that that spirituality is lost?
No, I don't think so. I think you never take away like spending time in the ocean, but it's a great way to showcase what we do in the ocean, and I think it makes it a lot more like viewer friendly. Because I think that's the trouble with like sometimes with like contests, especially big contests when world titles or gold medals are being given out. Sometimes you get 30 minutes when the ocean just goes flat, and how can you have a heat where someone gets through and the next heat's different,
Yeah. One of the other things we were talking about was measurement of the waves. So it's all estimation. You guys look at it and go, yeah, that's about 80 feet. Yeah, it's about 85 feet. Is there some point in the future where there's like a beacon that you're wearing that goes, okay, this is the biggest wave, we're going faster now than we've ever been before? Is that where the technology takes us?
There already is measuring systems that you can put on your body, like on your phone or on a device that I've used, and they can get the speed and the heights. But the waves are like that. They're not like that, so you can't really get the height. If you get the face value, then you're surfing, who knows how long the wave is, but they go to there and try and measure it. And then the ocean goes up and down, and I don't know, it's hard to really measure.
It would be interesting though that sort of GPS stuff on like when we go to the Olympic Games to measure how fast the surfers are going, how quick their turns are, how high they go in the air, and putting that into judging, sport, like making that football goal line technology to surf it.
Yeah. We already have that on some watches.
Yeah.
That can measure the speed you're going, how fast you're going, how many waves you've done. You can see actually a GPS graphic on the part of the world where you were and kind of lines you were doing. It's actually really cool, but I think there's still a bit more ground to gain.
It seems like the sport's okay without it, that actually you don't really need more technology to improve the sport. Is that a fair comment?
I'm sorry.
You don't actually need too much more technology to improve the sport?
No, I think the more technology, the better. I mean, that's like, I'm all for it. I've been an early adapter of like they said, we were using cameras and creating content before social media. And I think, that's a really cool thing was surfers and people in action sports specifically. We've had to get creative. And so I think having more tools to help better the sport is more tech, the better.
And that question about having to be creative because the big TV networks weren't pumping money in, you guys all had to do it yourselves.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, in a way.
It is a good thing. Out of necessity becomes ideas.
The mother of invention, I think. So are you guys going surfing this weekend? Is that like, are you going to surf, Nazar? Tomorrow. So if anybody wants to go and see, there's going to be
tomorrow and the next day will both be really good, but tomorrow's going to be huge.
Okay. So what kind of time should everybody hit there?
Should be big in the morning, but the biggest waves will probably come at about 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, right. So 3 o'clock tomorrow. If you're not here, the big waves, Nazare. Guys, thanks very much. It's been absolutely sensational. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll take a quick break. Thanks, guys.